How's it? Welcome back. So I've been working my way through my backlog of comments and messages here the past couple of days. And as I've been going through them, there's been several that I thought would be good to shoot some quick videos on because, well, you know, like maybe they could be beneficial for a few more people out there besides the specific person who asked the question. So that's what we'll be hopping into now. And first up is a message I got from a guy who's having a hard time staying awake when he meditates, and he does like to sometimes meditate lying down. And I know the vast majority of people who have a meditation practice will recommend against lying down because it, you know, like obviously drastically increases the chances of you falling asleep. However, for me personally, that is actually my preferred position to be in. And now granted, most of the time when I do meditate, I like to do it in bed at night as I'm going to sleep. And then I transition from that into stage 1 of sleep hypnagogic meditation once I hit that stage of sleep. But even when I'm meditating in the middle of the day and I have no intention on falling asleep, I still prefer to do it lying down or at least reclined. And you know, and then if not that, I'll be sitting in a chair like this one right here. I basically never meditate in the classic meditation position of like seated on the floor with no backrest, mostly because I just have such a screwed up back that it's for sure going to get uncomfortable for me quickly. And then I have indeed like straight up injured my back before from like sitting down on the ground too long. I mean, I've even injured my back from like sitting in this chair right here too long, typing away, tweak my back somehow, you know. It sucks. But with that said, I do have some recommendations on staying awake, you know, whether you're lying down or seated for your meditation. And the simplest way to explain it is also like the crappiest way to explain it. But simply, you know, all you got to do is really just pay attention. You got to keep your conscious awareness intact. And as long as you're doing that, right, it's going to keep you awake, or at least keep you consciously awake or keep you lucid. So even if your body does fall asleep and you hit stage 1 of sleep, right, you're still consciously there, which, you know, I guess doesn't really count as falling asleep in the classic sense, right? So how do I do it? So my preferred way to do it is as I'm going through the experience, I'm basically like kind of narrating in my head, like what I'm experiencing and the experience that I'm having. Essentially in a way as if I want to like document it and journal the experience later. And actually I stumbled into this when I was, or even before I had my channel, but like if I wanted to share the experience with different people in my life. And so I'd be keeping track of the experience in my head, which is also keeping me awake. But then once I started to get my channel going, then I switched over from, you know, I already talked the heads off of everybody in my personal life. They don't want to hear this shit anymore. So then I started narrating it in my head in a way that I could commit it to memory. So then I could go ahead and relay it back here, you know, in my videos. So that's one way to do it. And then another way you can do it, which is, I guess kind of like I wouldn't want to rely on this method, obviously, but you could also just try and, you know, drink a little bit of caffeine. And now you're going to have to kind of play around with the doses to see what works best for you. But, you know, drinking some caffeine obviously can help to keep you awake. But then even if you do fall asleep and you do drink caffeine, you know, because your body is still processing all of that stuff, it's going to increase the chances of you not going into deep sleep as quickly, and so you're more likely to be like asleep in the stage 1 of sleep area more. And then even if you lose your conscious awareness throughout this process, right, when you drink the caffeine, or even if you're not drinking the caffeine, but as long as you're still in stage 1 of sleep, you know, you do have a potential or an opportunity to have your conscious awareness kick in while you're within that state, and then you can go ahead and, you know, basically have a lucid liminal dream by that point. But yeah, if you've never tried that before, you know, just as you're going through the experience, and this is the main recommendation, basically try to narrate in your head of what you're seeing and experiencing as if you want to journal it later, or, you know, be able to remember the experiences that you are having after you come out of your meditation, you know, session. So with that said, that wraps it up. Until the next video, keep your meditation practice legit.